Good morning, students. This is the 15th lecture in the series of engineering thermodynamics, and we will continue with what we were doing in the last class. That is about the reversible and irreversible processes. So I gave you some time to read the definition of reversible process, and try to understand what exactly it means by can be restored, what exactly it means by along the same path, what exactly it means by without leaving any trace of its occurrence, and what it means by trace of occurrence on the surroundings. So today we'll again discuss what exactly is a reversible process, and unless you understand the reversible and irreversible process and develop a sense of distinction between these two processes, it will not be easy for you to analyze thermodynamic activity further. So, what is a reversible process? A reversible process, once again I am reading out the definition because we have to understand every word of this definition. A reversible process is the one, it's a process at the completion of which the system which was undergoing the process is completed, at the completion of which the system can be restored, can be taken back to its original state. See, can be taken back does not mean the system is taken back. I can be sent back to my place does not mean that I am actually being sent back to my place. Okay, can be restored to its original state, can be. Along the same path means the path is not going to change. If it has occurred along this path, then along same path it can be taken back to initial point 1. How? In such a way that this activity is not leaving any trace, any sign of its occurrence. I was giving you the example of a body, heavy body, which is pushed into the top of a hill. If you are pushing it and before somebody notices it, if you bring it down, then maybe somebody will come and see that 2 hours before the box was here, now also the box is here. But in actual practice, if one starts an investigation, then he will find that while it was pushed, there were some noise which has gone to the surrounding, and the noise level of the surrounding has gone up, which has created some wear track on the ground, which has rather got more deepened while bringing it down the hill. So it is not going to be restored, it is not going to be mitigated. Alright, suppose I am taking this class, it is a physical activity, I am taking this class, and by shouting here in this class I am making some noise, and this noise, where it is going to the surrounding, it is registered somewhere in the surrounding. Now suppose I will think this way that 2 hours before I was keeping quiet before I took the class, now I took the class and for 1 hour, and I will keep quiet again for 1 hour. So I will remain silent for 1 hour without even speaking a single word, just like I was 2 hours back. So I am taking myself back to what I was 2 hours back, but will that guarantee that all those words I have spoken has vanished? No. It has its impact on the surroundings, it has in the impact on the universe. So in thermodynamics, any process you carry out, suppose a piston is moving inside a cylinder, a turbine is rotating, a gas is passing through a nozzle. So a gas is passing through a nozzle, and while it passes through a nozzle, its velocity increases, there is some frictional loss and all that. So you want that the stream of air has passed through the nozzle. Now I will create a backward movement, backward flow of the stream, and the stream of air will again go past in the reverse direction. Then everything will be as it was 2 hours back, or as it was initially. But in that case, what will happen? There is some frictional loss along the nozzle wall. Now, while coming back, while the air will be coming back in the reverse flow, then also there will be some friction. So these frictional losses will be added up. The frictional losses are not going to cancel each other. Got my point? Try to understand. One more example I am giving. Suppose again come to the example of pushing the box up the hill. Now you are pushing the box up the hill. Okay, what you are doing? You are raising its potential energy. So there is a rise in potential energy mgh. When you bring it down, the potential energy is exactly recovered or adjusted, because there is a drop in potential energy by an amount mgh. So plus mgh minus mgh, energy is recovered. But what about the other losses? What about the other losses? The friction, the energy lost in the friction? No, the potential energy only is recovered. What about the frictional losses? Some loss it has incurred, or some energy it has spent on overcoming the friction while going up. So while coming down, are the losses made up? No, the losses are not recovered. The losses are not compensated. Rather, there is almost an equal amount of losses even while coming down. So similarly in thermodynamics, you think of any activity, any thermodynamic process. If a process is occurring, then the process is associated with some kind of losses. The losses may be due to friction, due to noise, due to turbulence, due to some other form of energy loss, but there will be some energy loss in any form, whether you like it or not. So suppose a process is taking place from 1 to 2, then even if you take the system back from 2 to 1, the system goes back to the original state, original point along the same path, but its effect on the surroundings will not be 0, 0. It will leave some trace of its occurrence. Okay, just like these detectives, how they investigate a particular crime. Their ground principle, the bottom line of criminology, the science of crime, is that no crime in this world can be committed without leaving a trace. Whether you are getting that trace or not depends on your investigating efficiency. But no crime in this world, no crime on this earth can ever take place by any criminal, irrespective of how much smart he is. There has to be some sign left, some trace left, some clue left. कुछ ना कुछ सुराग एक क्रिमिनल छोड़ जाता है एक क्राइम करने के बाद, and that is the bottom line. So these investigators, the detectives, they look for the surag, they look for the sign, because no crime is possible without leaving a trace of its occurring. Similarly, no process, thermodynamic process, is possible without leaving a trace on the surroundings. Therefore, this very definition of reversible process, that a process is said to be reversible if it's not leaving any trace of its occurrence, is actually something which is impossible. So therefore, all reversible processes are impossible processes, or all real processes that are happening in nature are, none of them is a reversible process, they are all irreversible process. And how you can make a process? Suppose, for example, see, I am here in this room and I want to go to the next, suppose you are here in this room and I will instruct you that, okay, you go from this room to the other room and come back. Suppose a class is going on in this room and another class is there, going on there. I will instruct you that you go from this room, go to that room and come back, but go and come back in such a way that you are not leaving any trace of your occurrence, any proof of your going there and coming back there, coming back from there. That means कैसे जाओगे तुम? How you will go? If you go very fast, then you will make noise. If you go with your chappal and all, then you will make noise, people will know. So how you will go? You will go like a thief. You will go very slowly, you will open the door, because the opening of the door, you are sure, you are cautious that the opening of the door is not going to make any noise. So very slowly you will open the door, Very slowly you will look here and there whether anybody is watching you or not, and then very slowly, one step by one step, one step by one step, like a cat, you will go from this room to that room. And what is your intention? You are trying to make your going from this room to that room in a way so that no trace, no sign or minimum sign of your going there is recorded. Okay, you are ensuring that nobody is watching you, you are ensuring that you are not making any noise. So such a thing can happen, or it can be attempted to happen only when you carry out very fast or very slowly, obviously very slowly. So when you are making the process very slowly, you are trying to make it more reversible. You are trying to make the process such that at the completion of it, even if you come back to your original position, you are not leaving any trace of your occurrence. Since that is not possible, you are trying that you are leaving minimum trace of your going there and coming back. So similarly, a thermodynamic process can look like a reversible process, or can approach or appear like a reversible process, near reversible process, only when it will occur very slowly. But all the processes that you see in the engineering industries, a piston moving inside a cylinder, a turbine moving with say 30,000 RPM, a boiler taking water and discharging steam, all these things do not happen very slowly. They happen with some fastness, with some speed. So only when a process occurs very slowly, you cannot expect that it will appear as a reversible process. Now, the more slowly it happens, the more reversible it is, because the more slowly it will happen, the less trace or less sign it is leaving on the surroundings. So, how much slowness is required for making it a perfectly reversible process? Very slow, little reversible, very slow, little more reversible, very slow, little more reversible, still more reversible. So when it is going to become perfectly reversible, then how many very should be there? Very, how many? Infinite number of very slow. That means if a process, thermodynamic process, if a process occurs with infinite slowness, kitna slow? Infinitely slow. See, this fan is rotating on my head. Okay, I mean, see here, the fan is rotating. What will be the speed? Speed is say 300 RPM. So it has got a speed. Now I adjust the regulator. I'll reduce the speed. So from 3 I made it 1. So it is moving with a speed of 50 RPM. Is it moving or not? It's moving. I make some arrangement so that it is now moving with 10 RPM, 10 revolutions, 10 times it is revolving per minute. It is moving or not? It's still moving. Although it is moving, although I have slowed it down from 300 RPM to 10 RPM, but it is still moving. I cannot say that it is infinitely slow. It has got some finite speed. It has got some finite fastness with which it is happening. It is revolving. So I made it further slow. 10 रिवोल्यूशन से मैं उसको ले आया 1 रिवोल्यूशन पर मिनट, मतलब 1 मिनट में 1 रिवोल्यूशन, 360 डिग्री in 1 revolution, in 1 minute. So the fan is moving with a speed of 1 revolution per minute, 360 degree angular movement per minute. It's moving or not? It is serving the purpose of a fan or not, that is different. But it is moving or not, yes or no? It is moving. Now I say half revolution per minute. मतलब 1 मिनट में half, 2 मिनट में 1 revolution. There is a fan, ceiling fan, which is making 1 round in 2 minutes. It is still moving. So 90 degree per minute, 10 degree per minute. It's moving or not? 10 degree per minute. That means for making 1 complete revolution, it is taking 36 minutes, 360 degree. But it's still moving. So what I am increasing? I am increasing the slowness of the fan or slowness of the process. Okay, I'm decreasing the speed of the process, making it slower and slower and slower. Therefore, I am making the process because, and now when the fan was moving with full 300 revolutions per minute, what was the noise it was, how much was the noise it was making? And now when it is moving 10 degree per minute, how much noise? In which case the noise is less. Obviously, in this very slow way of moving, the noise is less, much less compared to when it is moving with full speed. Got my point? Similarly, in thermodynamics, when you make a process happen very slowly, the losses of energy due to noise, due to friction, due to wear and tear, due to turbulence, due to other form of dissipation becomes less and less. When you make it infinitely slow means it is moving as if it is not moving. Okay, the fan is moving 1 degree, ये पूरा हो गया 360 degree, 1 degree every minute. That means it is taking 360 minutes or 6 hours to make one revolution. Okay, so the fan is moving as if it is not moving. So when you are thinking of a thermodynamic process with that much of slowness, then only you can say this is a near reversible process or almost static process, or that process is called a quasi-static process. If you read Pekenaag book, in some problem you will find that a gas expands in a quasi-static process. Quasi-static means almost static. Means it appears as if it is static, but technically it is not static. There is some movement, but the movement is so slow that you can call it almost no velocity. Say car is moving with a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. Then the car's speed is brought down to 10 kilometers per hour, 1 kilometer per hour, 100 meters per hour, 1 meter per hour, and then 1 centimeter per hour. So car is moving or not? 1 centimeter is also a distance. So 1 centimeter of distance is covered by the car in 1 hour. So this is called very high degree of slowness. But even 1 centimeter per hour is also a movement. 1 millimeter per hour is also a movement. When this distance per unit time approaches 0, when the limit approaches 0, then it is called that the process is approaching reversibility. So with infinite slowness only we get reversible process. So how a process becomes reversible, or why a process doesn't become reversible? Because if a process is occurring in thermodynamics, it occurs with a reasonable fastness, reasonable speed, so that we know only about point 1 and only about point 2. In the problems, what are given to you? That a system from P1, V1 travels a path Pv to the power n is equal to constant and reaches P2, V2 like this. So we have information about P1, V1, we have information about P2, V2, and we do not have information about the intermediate points because the process has occurred very fast. But imagine if the process will occur very slow. From here to here I can track the movement from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, here to here. Every point I can trace and track. Every point I can actually identify. At every point I can also measure the properties like P and V or T. Then such a process can approach or can be called a near reversible process, provided I have information about every point. And when I am information about every point, that means I can say that it is occurring with such a slowness that if a system shifts from point 1 to point 1 dash, the very next consecutive point, then at 1 it was in equilibrium, at 2 also it was in equilibrium, at 3 also it is in equilibrium, at 4 also it is in equilibrium, and finally at this final point also it is in equilibrium. That means when every point on the path becomes an equilibrium point. You know what is equilibrium point? Equilibrium means at every point, every instant, the system is in chemical equilibrium, the system is in mechanical equilibrium, and the system is in thermal equilibrium with its surrounding. So it is in complete harmony with its surrounding, and every point it is traceable, every point is a known point, an equilibrium point. Then only we will say the process is reversible. That means we have information about every point. But in actual practice, that doesn't happen because the system changes its state very fast in all practical devices, and therefore the points are actually not equilibrium points. There is lack of equilibrium at every point because of the fastness of the process, because of the turbulence associated with it, because of the noise associated with it, because of the friction associated with the process, and because of all this there is lack of equilibrium, there is lack of reversibility. So why a process is, and a natural process or a practical process is not actually reversible? The reason is that there is lack of equilibrium and there is no infinite slowness, and there is presence of dissipative effect. So what are the conditions of reversibility? A process can be reversible if this is a big if, very difficult to satisfy. One, if it is infinitely slow. Kitna slow? How much slow? What is the degree of slowness? Infinitely slow. It is so slow that it is happening as if it is not happening. देखो, मैं इतना जोर से आवाज करके बोलता हूं, सो आई एम स्पीकिंग. अभी मैं धीमा कर दूंगा आवाज, फिर धीमा करूंगा, फिर भी यू आर एबल टू हियर, बट मैं इतना धीमा करूंगा कि तुमको सुनाई नहीं देगा. सो इट इज, यू विल से, हाँ ये आदमी बात तो करता है लेकिन बात ऐसे करता है जैसे नहीं करता है. आई एम स्पीकिंग एज इफ आई एम नॉट स्पीकिंग. आई एम स्पीकिंग सो स्लो, in a so low a voice that you are not able to hear it, nobody is able to hear it, but I am still speaking. So मैं बात करता हूँ, ऐसे बात करता हूँ जैसे बात नहीं करता हूँ. It's just like that. Okay, मैं बोलता हूँ जैसे कि कुछ बोलता नहीं. So it is like that. It's happening as if it is not happening. I'm trying to give as much example as possible, but you have to think, you have to go deep into it and understand what it is. So a process is reversible if it is infinitely slow, if it is free from friction, noise or turbulence, and all these together are called dissipative effects. These are the modes by which energy is dissipated out or lost. So in short, you can call dissipative effects. If every point along its path is an equilibrium point. So if these three things are happening, and actually if it occurs infinitely slow, all the things will happen. If it is if it is occurring infinitely with infinite slowness, then it will be free from noise and friction, and every point will be an equilibrium point. So you make an analogy between the reversible process and the example I gave, that if you displace yourself from this room to that room in such a way that there is no trace of your going there, so how you will walk? You will walk very slowly or very fast? Obviously very, very slowly, very, very cautiously, very, very slowly, in such a slowness that nobody can make out, nobody can, even if somebody sees that you are there, he will feel that you are standing, you are not walking. So you are walking with such a low speed then even if somebody will see you as a witness, he can only see you standing. I mean, it will appear to him that you are standing, you are not moving. So that slowness is needed for a process to be reversible. So all these conditions are, if all these conditions are satisfied, then a process will be called a reversible process. But fortunately or unfortunately, in actual practice, in our day-to-day life, in the thermodynamic devices, thermodynamic processes do happen, but none of them follow these conditions of infinite slowness, lack of equilibrium, presence of equilibrium, and freedom from friction and wear. That is why no real process is actually reversible. And every process, because they are not reversible, they are all called irreversible processes. And the conditions of reversibility are this: infinite slowness, maintenance of equilibrium, what else? And freedom from friction, noise and turbulence. ये तीन कंडीशंस कभी होता नहीं है, इसलिए कोई प्रोसेस रिवर्सिबल होता नहीं है. All processes are irreversible. I hope I will give you this much dose of concepts today. I hope you will understand it, if you can understand it only when you think it twice or thrice. All right. So next class we will see what is reversibility and irreversibility. I've already told you, but what are the causes of irreversibility and all we will discuss, and then we'll move to a very important concept again, which is not unknown to you, that is a Carnot cycle. Okay, Carnot cycle is a hypothetical cycle. Students often ask, sir, Carnot cycle is not possible, why we are studying Carnot cycle? So we will know why we need to study Carnot cycle, although we very well know that it is not possible. Just like a reversible process is not possible, and we have to know what a reversible process is. Okay, this much for today. Thank you.